Welcome back. We're talking about books and taking a look at what's coming up in 2018. I'm joined by ENCA.com sub-editor Andrea van Wyk. Andrea, listen, for me, and I'll be honest, because this is something that has been in the news. I was traveling recently. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go back home and have a couple of days where I can read this book. Fire and Fury, a look into the White House and the drama that's going on there is something that I'm quite interested in, because for a change, that drama is not about us in South Africa and our own head of state. So I just thought this is an interesting read, but I know there's a lot going on in the country as well, and some of our colleagues in the media industry who have got must-reads coming up for 2018. What's going on?
So I'm going to start with two books that are coming out at the end of this month. The first is Mandy Wiener's book called Ministry of Crime. So obviously she became really well known for killing Kebble in 2011, exploring the underworld in South Africa. Now, Ministry of Crime, she says, is kind of a follow-up to this, looking at how organized crime, gangsters and powerful political figures have been able to capture law enforcement authorities and how close they are to the police, you know. And so we're expecting a whole bunch of new revelations here, definitely one to watch. Another media colleague, Iman Rapeti, she used to be an anchor over here and she's now a radio presenter. Not too many details yet about that book. It's an untitled memoir, but she said that it's basically the musings and writings that she's been keeping in the shoebox under her bed, you know, and just her thoughts about life, her childhood, how that's, you know, influenced her. So I think that's going to be something really beautiful. I mean, if you listen to her radio show, you'll know those intros that she does, you know, those life lessons, amazing. Really beautiful.
Yes, poetic.
Yes.
She's really good, and I felt that was a side that not a lot of people would know. You know, she's with Power FM based here in Gauteng, so not many people are privy to just how talented she really is. You know, when she's having those moments and she opens her show and she shares on current affairs, but in such a beautiful, poetic and thought-provoking manner. So I think that's one I'm definitely looking out for.
Absolutely. So also local, this is a fiction book, Under Glass by Claire Robertson. It's a novel set in Natal in the 19th century. It's described as a kind of a historical mystery type thing. A woman who arrives in Port Natal from India in 1856 with her daughter and her servant to join her husband on a sugarcane farm. On the farm, years later, something strange happens with their fifth child, and then you're drawn into this mystery to discover what that is. So it's described as a deeply researched historical novel and an intriguing mystery. So apparently if you're into literary fiction, this is going to be a book for you. So let's move international now. This is a book that I'm really keen to read. When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir. It's by Patrice Khan-Cullis and Asha Bandele. So Patrice is one of the co-founders of the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's an exploration of how her life experiences from childhood influenced her to become this activist and to help start this movement that just became a global phenomenon.
It did.
So I think this is definitely one that you're going to want to read and just, you know, get the background and behind the scenes stuff of hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Of course, and I think also because race relations, not only in the US, the world at large, are still quite topical. You see what happened in Libya and the sale of human beings there in slavery, you know. So it just goes to show that this issue of Black Lives Mattering, of race relations internationally is something that's not going away and will be a central theme for 2018 as well.
Yes, absolutely. Something else that we obviously saw last year was hashtag Me Too. So Rose McGowan, that actress who kind of relaunched the hashtag Me Too sexual harassment, sexual abuse awareness movement last year, her memoir is coming out in February. It's called Brave. So it's basically her manifesto about living life in Hollywood spotlight and her rebellion against the sexism and against the abuse that's happening there. So I think that's also going to be quite powerful and interesting to read, seeing as we're still dealing with hashtag Me Too at the moment.
One of the ills that continues to plague not only, like I said, you know, the country, the world at large. Any more?
Zadie Smith, one of our favorite authors. Everybody loves Zadie. So her new novel's only coming out in 2019. But to tie us over, Feel Free Essays. So this is about all her thoughts on a various range of subjects, from identity to race, all the things that she often has as themes in her novels, but now, obviously just a range of essays. A lot of critics really raving about this. This is in February. One thing I do want to mention as well, there are a whole bunch of novels coming out by Nigerian authors, and as I mentioned just now,
you did mention, yes.
I really think there are incredible things happening, and I think in South Africa, we need to look at what is happening there in terms of fiction. How are they promoting fiction on a world stage? How can we, in South Africa, replicate that? Because we're struggling there.
They're leading when it comes to their media industry as well. Nollywood has taken on a life of its own. It looks like literature is the next best thing.
And I mean, they've got so many young female authors doing incredible things. So, for example, Nedi Okorofo, one of her new novels, The Night Masquerade, is coming out. It's a science fiction series that she's written with a lovely young female heroine. So, I mean, her books have won international awards, and one of her novels at the moment, it's called Who Fears Death, is being made into an HBO movie with George R.R. Martin, the guy who wrote Game of Thrones and produces Game of Thrones. He's the producer for this movie. So, I mean, just like I said, I mean, just massive, amazing things happening there.
Do you know, I think we might have to do an entire segment on that. I think it warrants, there we have it. So we'll look into that, and then when that happens, you'll be the first to know. I definitely think it's something that we should visit. That was ENCA.com sub-editor Andrea van Wyk bringing us up to speed with all the best reads for 2018. We take a quick break. Headlines up next.